Good day everyone! Welcome to my virtual teaching. For today's video, we will learn about the different musical instrument of the orchestra. So first is the string family. The instrument of the string family is violin, sometimes known as a fiddle, is a wooden chordophone or string instrument. Next is viola. Viola is a string instrument that is bowed, plucked, or played with varying techniques. It is slightly larger than a violin and has a lower and deeper sound. The next is cello. Cello has an end pin that rests on the floor to help support the instrument weight. The cello can play the part of a supportive, reliable instrument at the moment and rise refuges to notes of a lovely tenor voice at the other times. The next is double bass. Double bass, it has many also have 5 string rather than 4 with the addition of a lower string. And the next is harp. The strings are plucked or strummed with the player's finger while 7 pedals on the bottom of the harp adjust the length of the string to produce additional notes. The next is the woodwind family. The instrument in the woodwind family is the flute. May often carry the melody lines as it is easy to hear above the other instrument. The next is piccolo. The piccolo is a half-size flute and a member of a woodwind musical instrument. Next is the oboe. The oboe is made of wood. It has more mellow sound than the flute, but it still has a bright treble sound and it's often expected to carry the melody and an orchestral work. The next is English horn. The finger and playing techniques are very similar to the oboe, and many performers plays both instruments. It is though to have more mellow sounds than the oboe. Next is clarinet. Clarinet, the tone quality can vary greatly depending on the musician, the instrument, the mouthpiece, and the reed. Next is the bass clarinet. Has a usable range of over 4 octaves, quite close to the range of bassoon, and many bass clarinets perform works originally intended for bassoon or even cello. Next is the bassoon. The bassoon, when the players blow air between the reed, the vibrating columns of air inside the instrument travels over 9. Next is the contrabassoon. The contrabassoon is mainly a supplementary rather than a pure orchestral instrument. Is the most frequently found in the larger symphonic works. The last is saxophone. The saxophone is a family of woodwind instrument usually made of brass and played with single reed mouthpiece. Next is the brass family. Trumpet is a brass instrument commonly used in classical and jazz ensembles. The next is trombone. Trombone is a musical instrument in the brass family. As with all brass instruments, sound is produced when the player is vibrating lips cause the air column in the instrument to vibrate. The next is the horn. Horn, it has a clear mellow sound and is played with the bell pointing away from the audience, providing contrast to the other brass instruments. Next is the brass trombone. It has one of 2 valves which can lower the key of the instrument. There is usually at least 1 bass trombone in symphony orchestra. And last, the tuba is a lowest pitch musical instrument in the brass family. As with all the brass instruments, the sounds is produced by lip vibration or buzz into a large mouthpiece. And the percussion family. Timpani is one of the percussion family. Timpani are pitch instruments tuned in a specific pitch that fits into the key of the composition being played. Next is the snare drum. Snare drum is almost always double-headed with rattle of guts, metal wire, and synthetic stretch across one or both heads. The snare drum is played by hitting with drumstick. The next is the bass drum. Has a deep or low sound, the bass drum is mounted on a stand because of its size, and the player strike either sides with felt-covered mallets. The next is the triangle. The triangle is an idiophone types of musical instrument on the percussion family. It has a bar of a metal, usually steel, but sometimes other metals such as copper bent into a triangle shape. Next is gong. Gong is a circular metal plate-like percussion instrument, usually having a tuned down rem. In most form, it is struck in the center with a felt of leather covered better, producing a sound of either definite or indefinite pitch. The next is cymbals. A cymbals is a common percussion instrument often used in pairs. Cymbals consist of thin, normally round plates of various alloy. Next is the cyclophone. Cyclophone is a musical instrument in the percussion family that consists of a wooden bar struck by mallets. Next is chime bells. The chime bells typically lack dynamic variation and were not harmonically tuned. And last is the piano. The piano is a keyboard instrument that produces sounds by striking string with hammer, characterized by its large range and ability to play chord freely. And that's all the different musical instruments of the orchestra.